I'm the one who will become the next champion. Okay!
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome day. And today we're going to become the next champion as we do our Hop and Zamazenta Sync Grid guide. We're going to go through his kit. We're going to go through how to unlock and max him out, and also a couple of sync grid guides to utilize him to his max potential. Again, timestamps down below if you want to skip to anywhere in particular. But without further ado, let's get into it. So firstly, to unlock him and basically max him out, we go to our main story. We go to our legendary adventures because he's a legendary unit, and we do up the top there the Howling Shield of Eternity. We do this mission, we're going to get him, we're going to unlock him 5 out of 5, we're going to get him 20 out of 20 with some extra tickets, and on top of that, we're also going to get those champion spirits to 6-star EX him, and he's a support unit, so you really want to get that 6-star on him as soon as possible. And for his themes, because he's a support unit, you want to get as much health on him as possible, so using anyone from the Steel, Galar, Rival, Galar Adventurer, or Researcher tag is going to give him a little bit of extra health, which will keep him in the fight. And for his kit, he can do a little bit of extra damage, but really we're just focusing on keeping everyone alive and everyone in tip-top condition. So first off, we've got Metal Claw, which is a single target 1-gauge move with a 10% chance of raising your attack by 1 stat rank. Not really super important, he's not there to deal damage, it's really just there as just your 1-bar spam move in case you need to get that sync move as soon as possible. Potion will restore an ally's health by 40%, and then you can get bonuses as well, obviously, but really just whenever you click it, you get to pick someone, they get some healing, always nice to have in the support unit. Behemoth Bash is a really cool move. It is a 4-gauge move that does a lot of damage, but there are ways around it, don't worry. And this attack's power will increase by 50% when the target has a sync buff. So when the enemy has used a sync move, they get that sync buff bonus. If they have that, you do another 50% damage, which is nice. And lastly is Hop to It, which will raise the attack of all allied sync pairs by 2 and will raise the defensive crit rate by 1, which isn't too bad. +4 attack for everyone if you just use your 2 base units here. And also a +2 defense, +2 crit rate, remember. +2 crit rate will give you 80% chance to crit, which is more than enough to ensure that you're going to be getting some big damage out. A free sync move, Big Dreams Behemoth Bash. Its attack's power will increase when the target already has a sync buff. So if the target's already used the sync move, they have that sync buff bonus. Hit him with this move and you're going to do a little bit of extra damage. Not that it's super important because he's a support unit. Once you get him to 6-star EX, you just want to use your sync move as soon as possible to get that double sync buff bonus applied to your own team. And you get some more damage out, which is much better in my opinion. And for his passives, he does get 3, which is really nice to see in a free unit. So first off, we've got Sentry Entry 2, which will raise your defense by 2 stat ranks whenever you enter battle. As soon as you enter the battle, +2 defense. Nice and simple. And remember, with Hop to It, at the very least, you're getting another +2 there. +4 defense, +2 crit, +4 attack. Pretty heavily defended. Next up is Healthy Benefits 5, which will reduce the damage that you take by 50% because it's the 5. Whenever you're hit by an attack move or a sync move when your health is full. So if you have full health, remember he has potion as well, you take 50% less damage from that first initial hit. So use this if you get a big sync move coming your way, you need to tank it. As long as he's at 100% health, he gets hit, 50% damage reduction. Very helpful. And lastly, Free Venge 4 will have a 50% chance of giving you free move next, which means you don't use any move gauge whenever you're hit by an attack. Because I usually use him as my main tank, and I highly recommend you do that as well, because he's pretty good at tanking, really. You get hit by a move, and you can get that free move next. Gets you to spam out Behemoth Bash. Just means you get those big damaging moves out. You don't have to worry about the move gauge of the other 2 units. And for his lucky skill, even though he can pump out some big moves like that, I still just recommend Vigilance. Again, he's usually tanking for you, so pumping on Vigilance, mitigating any crit damage coming your way. I don't know why I really need to explain it every time whenever I talk about a support unit. Vigilance is the way to go. And for his sync grid, I've got 2 builds here. I primarily only use 1 because that's pretty much how I use him. But if you need a damaging steel type unit, I will have a build for that as well. Again, timestamps down below. First off is what I call the Hop to It build, just focusing on being a really good tank and a really good support here. So first off, Adrenaline. Because it's a support unit, getting that sync move countdown as soon as possible just means you get more moves, more sync moves out, more damage out, more sync buffs. Very good. And because it's a support unit, you're going to be using it first anyway. So again, that countdown is very helpful. Hop to It, MP refresh. This is really here mainly for the attack and the defense. The crit rate I'm not too worried about because you get that 80%. But hey, the refreshes, 100% chance to crit. I suppose it's better than nothing. Natural Remedy will remove all status conditions from the user the first time it is inflicted by any status condition every battle. So basically if you get hit with, poison, burn, paralysis, sleep, anything like that, you're just going to completely just knock yourself out of it and then just keep fighting on. You'll find with like a lot of battles, poison, burn, and that are kind of the things that knock you out. So having this built into the kit is very handy. And also we're going to opt for quick cure for the same thing, but for confusion, flinch, and trapped. Whenever you get trapped, it does do a lot of damage to you. So having that removal of it whenever you get hit by it, sometimes they only hit you with the one move right at the start because they don't think that you can cleanse it. Get hit with quick cure, you just remove the trap, remove the flinch, whatever you need, and you can keep those moves pumping out. First Aid 4 is my favorite ability in the game. It will give you a 40% health booster whenever you're in a pinch every battle. Once you hit that pinch, you're just going to get that instant health regeneration. Remember, if he's at 100% health, he gets that 50% damage reduction anyway. So then if they knock him down to, say, 20% health, just get that extra 40%, you're still in the fight and able to keep hitting. And because he has potion, we definitely want to pick up that potion refresh so that we have that chance to regen that potion so that we can keep healing our allies. And also picking up a master healer node is never a bad option. Getting another 10% extra healing there, 50% healing on a potion, not too bad, just to keep everyone tip top. And worst case, if you use it on yourself, make sure you can get to that 100% so you can mitigate any damage coming your way. And this one is what I'm going to call the Behemoth build, just focusing on using Behemoth Bash as much as possible. So as you'll see, we still have Adrenaline, again, still a support unit, so having that in there is going to be very handy to keep yourself in the fight. We've also went for Take Hit, super effective next. I'll probably still use him as my main tank anyway. So having this means we're going to get that extra super effective next, a little bit of extra damage on our Behemoth Bash. And remember with Free Venge, whenever we get hit, we have that chance for free move next as well, which is nice. First Aid, not going to harp on it too much. Best ability in the game, don't at me. Just heal yourself whenever you get into a pinch, and then you're able to heal yourself without having to do anything, which is really nice. And in case that does proc and you still need some healing, we still are opting for some potion refreshes and the Potion Master Healer. I don't know why you wouldn't be picking up these up anyway. At the very least, you could take out the Master Healer if you don't want it and just have the Potion Refresh, just so you can get that refresh, keep the healing on all your allies, which is nice. And lastly, Behemoth Bash move gauge refresh, because we're going to be using this a lot as our primary damage move, especially if you're using him as like an offensive steel type here. Having this move here, just because it's a 4 gauge move, make sure we can get some move gauge back to keep the moves coming out and also hitting the enemies there. You can't really guarantee that your allies are going to get that move gauge refresh, so making sure that you have that little, that little safety net is really nice to have there. Moving on to honorable mentions, healthy healing is actually very handy to pick up. If you can pick it up, I definitely would, especially if you've got like the 70 energy grid. All in all though, First Aid and Potion should keep you in the fight long enough. If you run through all of those, you've probably already lost. But healthy healing is nice just to keep you nice and topped up if you can afford it. Sharp Entry 1, I'm not too worried about this. Hop to it will give you a +2 crit rate, which is 80%. So getting an extra one, yeah, it's 100%, but I mean, as I've said before, 4 out of 5 isn't a bad chance. So I'd rather just take that and just keep the 8 energy. Wise Entry will only raise your special defense by 1 stat rank, and it's not really worth it for how out of the way it is and for 8 energy. If it was like 3 energy and a little bit closer, sure, pick it up, why not? But otherwise, I wouldn't even worry about it. For all the Metal Claw bonuses, Metal Claw move gauge refresh isn't really worth it. It's a 1 gauge move, so 5 energy to get that 1 gauge back. Yeah, it could be free, but if you've got him as your tank as well, you've got that free move next as well. You wouldn't even be using it. So I don't even really like using Metal Claw, to be honest with you. But if you want to pick it up, I would just completely skip the move gauge refresh. Swag Bag will just give you another 10% chance of raising your attack, which again, remember, you have Hop to it, which is going to give you a +2 anyway. So you may as well pick that up, because A, this is only for Hop, whereas Hop to it will give it to everyone. So I'd rather pick that up than picking up Swag Bag. And Stoic, you can make an argument for this, but I'm going to say the same thing with Hop to it. You're just going to up that anyway with your defense, and you have your Sentry Entry anyway. You're going to max out your defense. So unless they knock out your defense to -6 right at the start of the battle, there's really no point in picking this up. Emergency Huddle only helps when you're in a pinch, and I don't really like focusing on that. The problem is he doesn't have endurance or any way to get that, unless you have like another, sync pair that can give him that, obviously. But if you can't get that endurance, this isn't really super helpful, and it's also going to raise the defense of everyone. But might I add again, Hop to it refresh is 7 energy, it's on the way to Adrenaline, and it does everything that this bottom tree does better. So I'd rather pick that up, and it helps everyone on the team as well. I'd rather pick that up than put any effort into that tree. And lastly, Unbending. I don't really care about losing defense. I can just up it up with Hop to it if I really need to, or if I have another unit that can do it, I'd just do that. I'm not too worried about losing defense. And that's it for our Hop and Zamazenta Sync Grid Guide. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below if I helped you get some grid ideas for him. And if you have any grid ideas for me, I'd like to hear them down below. If anyone can make a Metal Claw grid that is actually useful, then I will tip my hat to you. I really don't think it's worth it though. But as you see, very good defensive unit, a lot of bulk, pretty much whenever I need a really tanky support unit, Hop's my go-to. He does a lot of good stuff there, especially with physical damage as well. And worst case, he does have Behemoth Bash, big damage output, and he's got Potion, which is nice. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.